Thank you. That is a distractingly bad picture. So please, um, that was a selfie I took in quarantine when I could get no one else to take a picture of me. So please remove that. But good morning, everyone. So good to see you. I'm so lucky. There's grace involved in why I'm here. Uh, to continue with the theme, I was actually on a mini vacation in Southern California when this workshop happened. So I decided to stay an extra day, and so here I am with you. And as it happens, whenever I come to the LA area, I love to stay in Santa Monica because of that ocean. I love the ocean. So I'm Kei Koizumi. Good, thank you. I'm the Principal Deputy Director for Policy at OSTP, which is the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. I'm a social scientist way back when, and probably a lapsed social scientist. And my research was the science of science policy, or research on research. But now I think I will self-identify as a science policy wonk. And that is why I'm talking to you today. So let me tell you a little bit about what my office in the White House does. Number one, we provide advice to the president, the vice president, and other White House officials on matters related to science and technology. That's a lot of things. Two, we work to strengthen and advance the American STEM enterprise. We're all a part of it. So we're trying to do that. Third, we work with federal government departments and agencies and with Congress to create bold visions, unified strategies, clear plans, wise policies, and effective, equitable programs for science and technology. We also engage with external partners, including industry, academia, philanthropic organizations, civil society, state, local, and tribal governments, and other nations. And finally, we work to ensure equity, inclusion, and integrity are present in all aspects of US science and technology. So for all those reasons, you can understand why I'm so happy to be here, because we are working together. We have common visions. I'm proud that last December, as you already heard, OSTP announced new actions to transform the American science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine, STEM from here on out, ecosystem by dramatically expanding access opportunities and bolstering America's competitiveness. And we did that in partnership with so many of you in this room at the White House STEM Opportunity Summit. We together put forth at the White House a national vision for transforming the American STEM ecosystem. That summit brought together people across STEM, including from the government, private sector, civic, education, nonprofit, community-based organizations, many of whom are here. And we were brought together so we could commit to working collaboratively to build a more equitable and excellent science and technology ecosystem. And to make sure that this work endures beyond a summit, that's why at that time we collaboratively launched the STEM Opportunity Alliance. So OSTP, AAAS, the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation, and over 90 partner institutions at that time, still growing, as you just heard. We launched this alliance, and I'm really proud that this first of a kind national initiative to lead and coordinate cross-sector actions to sustain American global leadership by achieving equity across STEM fields is alive and well and moving forward. We still have a lot to do, as you heard, and you are part of making sure that we accomplish all that we have to do, but we are here. So because we're here today, let's continue this great work together. So why is it important for us to achieve STEM equity and excellence? We each bring our own answers to this meeting. So let me share mine. And of course, you will share your stories as we go on. Primarily, for us at OSTP and the White House, it's because we need STEM excellence and equity to meet the enormous global challenges that we face. Our goal is to strengthen and advance and use American science and technology to achieve America's aspirations. So what are these aspirations? The Biden-Harris administration is committed to harnessing excellent and equitable STEM because we strive to use science and technology to achieve a nation of strong civil rights, freedom from discrimination, and plentiful opportunity where every person can flourish. We also use science and technology because we need to harness its power to achieve robust health for everyone, regardless of geography, income level, insurance status, gender identity, sexual orientation, race, or ethnicity. We need it because we need to meet the challenge of the global climate crisis. This includes work to reset our relationship with nature, to make the nation more climate resilient, and provide technology and science-based options to achieve our national goal of getting to net zero greenhouse gas emissions no later than the year 2050. And we aspire to build the science, technology, and innovation foundations of our economic competitiveness. As President Biden says, from the bottom up and the middle out. This means ensuring that Americans of all backgrounds and education levels have the opportunity to acquire STEM skills and to use them in good jobs. And we also aspire to use science and technology to secure global and national security and stability against the many threats we face, some of them technological in nature. And we are all challenged to use the power of science and technology to build a vigorous democracy that works for everyone. So you'll recognize that full attention to equity and excellence in science is essential to making progress on these challenges. So let's talk today about how we can make that progress together. As I said, STEM equity is a guiding light for this administration's approach to the U.S. science and engineering enterprise. And that guiding light is about ensuring that everyone in America has the opportunity to benefit from and participate in our STEM enterprise. So I'm a policy wonk, as I said. So let me approach how we accomplish these aspirations from a policy lens. And of course, you will be providing your own lenses and your own perspectives. So let me start by noting the CHIPS and Science Act. It's a law that became law in August of last year when President Biden signed it. And you were there, and you were there. It is a landmark science policy law. Although a lot of attention has gone to semiconductor R&D funding and new policies for increasing the translational impact of research in the law, I think it's important to highlight the many new policies in this law designed to promote STEM equity. So let me give you some of those. The law has new and expanded programs to build research capacity at underserved institutions and geographies, including historically Black colleges and universities and other minority-serving institutions. The CHIPS and Science Act also had reauthorizations of important NSF programs, National Science Foundation programs, to increase the participation of racial and ethnic minority researchers in the US STEM enterprise. It has new policies for the academic research environment, including caregiver policies, efforts to address cultural and institutional barriers blocking the full participation of underrepresented groups in STEM, and addressing harassment in research environments. These policies will become part of federal government funding for research, and therefore part of the incentive and reward structure for research institutions. You know, as an administration, we've followed through on this legislation with resources. And by that, I mean dollars, but also commitment and also with people. But we know that real change requires more than dollars and people. It requires persistence. And let me talk a little bit about some of the other areas where we need in the STEM enterprise. So I'm going to talk a little bit about AI because that is on everyone's mind, including the world's leaders in the G7 summit that just concluded. We have to make sure that we are part of the process of translating research results into technologies that are used ethically, transparently, and responsibly. And that's the only way we can create a truly equitable STEM ecosystem. We need AI-enabled technologies to be deployed ethically, transparently, and responsibly. This is the need that drives so many of our efforts around governance of AI research and AI-enabled technologies. And it's a need that's only reinforced by what we know. When technologies are used irresponsibly, it disproportionately affects people from marginalized groups, whether it's facial recognition algorithms that don't work as well on people with darker skin, or AI-enabled banking software using algorithms that reproduce long-standing redlining practices rather than correcting them. I mean, to this day, I don't use facial recognition because it gets me and all my Japanese American friends wrong. So, so that is why we are advancing AI research, promoting the responsible use of AI-enabled technologies, and building a shared research resource to enable more people to participate in AI research. And this work builds on our blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights released last fall to ensure democratic principles are reflected in AI technologies. And we know that in order to make those democratic principles come alive, we need people from all across our democracy to participate in the design and deployment of these technologies. Otherwise, we have AI-enabled technologies that tend to only work for a certain class of people, the people who develop those technologies. So in this administration, we are trying to embed equity in everything we do, including our work on the STEM enterprise. And in doing so, we are working toward what we share is a goal of systemic and enduring change, not just one-time interventions. So there are too many examples to talk about here, but let me leave you with our work on just two dimensions of equity, starting with where I always like to start as a former social scientist, with the data. We're going to talk a lot about data, so let me give you a few pieces of why data are important to me. Data are important for me because you cannot change what you can't see, and data enables us to see empirically what is going on. So in January, the administration released the first ever federal evidence agenda on LGBTQI+ equity. This agenda is a roadmap that reflects the president and vice president's commitment to clear the way for federal agencies to collect the data and evidence they need to improve the lives of all people, and especially LGBTQI+ Americans. We are moving forward as a federal government to expand the federal collection of data about sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex characteristics, or SOGI data for short, while robustly protecting personal privacy. And then we intend to move forward on using these SOGI data to advance equity for LGBTQI+ Americans. The administration has made a lot of progress over the last few years to advance full inclusion and protection. However, we've been limited by incomplete information on the number of LGBTQI people in the United States, and limited by lack of information about their experiences engaging with federal policies and programs and the disparities they face in their daily lives. So as a social scientist who has long scoured the research literature for data about LGBTQI Americans, I am beyond thrilled that so many more people know what SOGI data means. And now you do too. And that we have come a long way in our US federal government collecting and reporting on SOGI data in so many contexts. For my world, for too long, we haven't known, and we still don't know how many LGBTQI scientists, engineers, STEM students, and postdocs there are in the United States, nor their experiences in science and engineering and how they may differ from other people in America. We don't even know reliably whether LGBTQI people are well represented or underrepresented in science and engineering compared to the rest of the population, much less the experiences of Black gay physicists, gay Japanese American male social scientists, that would be me, or Hispanic transgender engineers in our science and engineering enterprise. If the data show underrepresentation, then we can swing into action to make sure federal actions can help to address them. But until we know it, we can't swing into action. So I know there's a community of science and engineering organizations who stand ready to use these data to do what we can to ensure that everyone in America has the opportunity. So let me give you another example from the world of more equitable data. On this occasion of May, it's Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Happy month, it's my month. Well, next month is my month too, but okay. OSTP is the co-chair of the Equitable Data Working Group, now the Subcommittee on Equitable Data, or SED, under the National Science and Technology Council. So we are tasked with identifying inadequacies in our existing federal data collection infrastructure and laying out a strategy for improving equitable data practices in the federal government. We do this because we know we need better, more disaggregated data about our communities if we are to make progress on identifying and then correcting these inequities. So we do need to disaggregate data around race and ethnicity. One example, we know that Asians and Asian Americans are well represented in the sciences and engineering, but that masks disparities and underrepresentation within Asian ethnicities. Because of disaggregated data, we're able to see in the data what we've seen with our eyes. East Asians, such as ethnic Chinese, Korean, or Japanese, or South Asians, such as you, ethnic Indians, or Pakistanis, are well represented. But most other Asian groups, including Southeast Asians, are underrepresented. We're also able to see similar patterns of underrepresentation among most Pacific Islander and Native Hawaiian communities. We have to continue to improve our ability to report on these fine-grained demographic data as the foundation of the research and actions we need to build truly inclusive and diverse research communities. So I'm proud that as the OSTP representative to this White House initiative on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, I'm part of the team translating these better data into better actions. So we face enormous challenges, but also plentiful opportunities. I want to close by thanking the people and organizations and all of you, because we are all partners in the STEM Opportunity Alliance. Only by working together can we meet these challenges. And whether you are a technology company, a nonprofit organization, a federal agency, a university or college, or an activist, thank you for being here today. And I'm looking forward to exploring today with you the ways we can continue to work together towards STEM equity and excellence.